Even by today's standards, Metal Gear Solid 3 has impressively deep mechanics and interconnected systems that make fighting enemies, facing bosses, and exploring environments a ton of fun. Metal Gear Delta faithfully recreates one of the best entries in the series, iconic moments and all. But here's the catch: if you miss a few key pieces of gear, you might be cutting yourself off from useful tools, or worse, unknowingly making the game much harder. That's because it's very easy to skip over important weapons and equipment that you won't be able to get again until much later, if at all. So whether you're returning for a refresher or diving in for the very first time, in this video we're going to show you exactly where to grab the most essential gear as early as possible. Light spoilers ahead, but the beginning of MGS3, and therefore Metal Gear Delta, is split into two parts. First is the Virtuous mission, which works as the game's tutorial. Afterward, you'll return to the same areas during Operation Snake Eater, which continues the story proper. Even though the locations overlap, the world state is not persistent between the missions. That means collectibles, weapons, and items you grab in the Virtuous mission won't carry over into Operation Snake Eater. On top of that, anything you missed during the Virtuous mission won't be waiting for you later. Furthermore, the gear and items you do pick up are completely reset once you finish the Virtuous mission. Mechanically, you can get through the entire Virtuous mission with just the MK22 pistol, or even less, but it's a shame to miss out on some powerful gear you can experiment with right away. If you're the type to sweep every map thoroughly, you'll naturally collect most of this stuff, but if you'd rather not comb every corner, here are the Virtuous mission highlights.
Okay, Snake. Go get your backpack.
Right after the opening cutscenes and codec calls when you first gain control of Snake, turn around and head uphill to find a life med. The jungle offers plenty of stamina restoring snacks, but an extra life med is great for quickly restoring health. The next area is a swamp filled with alligators. You're going to want to remove your silencer and shoot down this hornet's nest in the middle. Use a dive roll to get across safely, and then you can pick up an ointment and a hornet's nest, plus some MK22 ammo hidden in the shrubbery here. On the small beach just to the left, you'll also find an extra MK22 suppressor. As soon as you load into the next area, make a sharp U-turn to the right to grab the SVD sniper rifle. Continuing along the main path, take the right fork of the loop to find stun grenades behind a log and MK22 ammo in a stump. But the real prize here is the thermal goggles, and they're hidden in a hollow log at the bottom of the slope. Moving on to the next area, you'll encounter a giant canyon with a bridge that spans across. Before heading over, knock down this hornet's nest to scatter the guards, and then if you look, you'll see there's an M16 underneath the bridge on the opposite side. The guards don't take too long to respawn and come back, so head over quickly, hang down, and then shimmy toward the bridge before dropping to the ledge below using the action button to catch yourself. After grabbing the M16, you can head back up by just hugging this wall to the left here. Once you enter the abandoned factory area, focus on the 6 patrolling guards, 2 on the left, 3 in the middle, and 1 on the far right. After clearing them, head up the stairs for an M16 silencer. Also near the stairs, you'll find the M37 Shotgun, and inside the ruined structure, a life med. Once looted, you can backtrack to test your gear, or head straight through the door, which will take you to the end of the Virtuous mission.
Airspace security has gotten tighter since we were last here. We can't get as close to the ground as we did during the Virtuous mission. So instead, we'll be using one of our newest weapons. Snake, you're being given an honor on par with Alan Shepard. This is our last chance. Show your patriotism.
When Operation Snake Eater begins, you'll notice the jungle still has plenty of wildlife, but far fewer weapons and items. The story eventually forces you down a cliff into the clearing where the SVD was earlier, but this time, it's gone. Your first real finds won't come until you reach the bridge again. Go to the same hidden area under the far side of the bridge where the M16 was before, but this time instead of an M16, you'll find a life med, raindrop camo, and smoke grenades. Once you return to the abandoned factory, there is some crucial gear you aren't going to want to miss. At the top of the metal stairs, you'll find the AK-47. In the middle of the roofless area of the structure, you'll find cardboard box A on top of some crates, and towards the front of the structure, opposite the door, you'll find the mine detector near a window. Before heading inside to trigger the next cutscene, go to the far east end of the structure in the corner to find the zombie face camo. Lastly, but most importantly, you'll want to grab the thermal goggles. Those are inside the room where you met Sokolov. Step inside the door and look to Snake's left to find a locker that can be opened. The thermal goggles are inside. These goggles are easily one of the most useful items in the game. They can be used for finding food and avoiding traps, but they are really handy for spotting enemies through the foliage. The thermal goggles also make multiple boss fights a lot easier by instantly improving your ability to detect and track hidden targets, so don't miss them. If you do, it's okay because you can find them in 2 other spots throughout the course of the game, but you'll have to go a decent stretch of time without them. The area after the abandoned factory is a shallow lake, and there are 2 things worth getting here. The first is the Croc Cap, and Yes, it actually is cooler than just a hat that looks like the head of a crocodile. It's actually a working disguise. In order to get it, you need to swim under this log on the northwest side of the map. Once you emerge, pick up the MK22 Ammo and Grenades in the water, then follow the path up and around to the right until you find this tree. Climb up, shimmy across the rope, and when you have lined it up perfectly, drop down and catch the line below with the action button. Shimmy across until you reach solid land, and the Croc Cap will be there waiting for you. The next piece of gear is the Choco suit, and it's located on the other side of the map in the northeastern region. Go to this spot and look under the water to find it. What's cool about the Choco suit is it makes noise when you're nearby the frog collectibles. Its limited range really works against you in some areas, but in others, it works great. Entering the next part of the map, you'll need to be really careful. There are Claymore Mines everywhere, electrified fences, and the first guard dog encounter in the game. You can use the thermal goggles to see the mines and then just crawl around on the ground to pick them up. If you follow the path to the right, you can slink along a small ledge that leads to the Splitter Uniform. Once you pass the fence with 2 guards, head up the hill to the left a little and you'll find the Choco chip uniform in a tree stump. Moving on, the next area has 4 small structures, each with a ton of stuff inside that you're going to want to grab, but there are a lot of guards, so be careful. Make sure to stock up on the gear at all 4 buildings, but the main things you want here are the Snowface Camo outside in this trench, the water uniform on top of the barracks, the M19 pistol suppressor and trank ammo hidden inside the barracks, and as much explosives and ammo as you can carry from the armory hidden in the very back. Once you've looted all the buildings, press on for a quick boss fight, and then you should find yourself in the caves. It gets a little complicated in here, but we really just want to leave with a torch, some ammo, night vision goggles, and maybe a few more snacks. In the starting cave, take the path right, and then again choose the furthest right path to stock up on grenades and ammo. As a side note, you'll also find these battery restoring mushrooms throughout the cave. Backtrack 1 cavern, and then take the furthest left path until you find the cavern with waterfalls. Hidden between the waterfalls is a little cave where you can pick up the torch. Grab it and then backtrack a little bit to exit the waterfall cavern to the west, follow the path up, and don't fall down. Once you reach a dead end, get down and crawl through the opening. Eventually, you'll end up in a small bat cave. Grab the medicine here to the right, and then head in the same direction as before to crawl one last time down into the next cavern. Once you get all the way to the end, you'll find the night vision goggles on the other side of a big hole. Once you grab the night vision goggles, you can drop down and explore the rest of the caves. Eventually, you'll have to get on top of the waterfalls and then follow the path around to get to the exit. In the second part of the caves, you'll have to decide whether to go left or right again. Take the right path to grab the M37 Shotgun and the snow uniform, and then continue crawling through the tunnels until you loop back around onto the left path where you can grab some ammo. Be careful, if you turn right instead of looping back, you will trigger a boss fight before you can grab the ammo. The SVD sniper rifle is the last thing you need when it comes to early gear. Technically, at this point, we aren't in the early game anymore, but it seemed odd to leave it off the list since you can use it to completely avoid a boss fight if you want to. After you defeat the caves will dump you out into a kind of river swamp, and this is where the Croc Cap is going to get some use. Its unique attributes will let you swim past these hovering guards and even into their spotlights as long as you don't get up. As soon as the waterway breaks to the left, follow it until you find an area with a small dock, 2 guards, and a storage room. Inside the room, you'll find the SVD sniper rifle. There is also a ton of ammo and other gear to stock up here in this little side area. Notably, there are suppressors for both pistols outside, so don't miss out on those before moving on.
Ah, you're here at last. Looks like the boss's info was right.
And that's it. That's all the best gear for the opening hours of Metal Gear Delta Snake Eater. Between the sniper rifle, extra suppressors, and thermal goggles, you should have all the basic tools you need to tackle the challenges ahead. But with all the camo, weapons, ammo, and grenades we grabbed, you'll also have a lot of choices for how you want to approach those challenges, or some options if things don't go perfectly as planned the first time. Happy hunting, and if you're curious about how much has changed between the original MGS3 and MGS Delta, what you get for defeating bosses non-lethally, or just want to learn about all the things you can do with CQC, we've got all that and much more right here on IGN. Thanks for watching.